I recently had dinner with a retired Navy SEAL officer. We had a really amazing conversation, and one of the things that came up in our conversation was how, in so many ways today in society, one of the highest goods that's put out there, if not the highest good, is the good of being safe, and how there's something wrong with that. In our culture today, there's kind of this fixation with the Navy SEALs. You know, they've become very much so in the public limelight the last 10, 20 years or so. We think about the Osama bin Laden raid, SEAL Team 6, all the books and TV shows and movies that have come out in recent times. There's a real fixation, I think, that society has on the Navy SEALs, how these human beings, these men, push themselves in ways that most human beings never ever do or ever would, but how there's something admirable in that. And yet at the same time too, society and culture in so many ways has this fixation with being safe. We hear about, safe spaces, places we can go to avoid conflict, to just be comfortable and to never ever have our boat rocked. We think about how when you're in a conversation with so many people, and I think we're all guilty of it from time to time, when there's a lull in the conversation or it gets awkward or we feel uncomfortable, the first thing that happens is the cell phone comes out and we kind of look down like this to avoid that awkwardness or that uncomfortability. And I think there's something really subtly anti-Christian about that because, as much as the world holds safety up there as such a high ideal, the gospel calls us to be dangerous. It's for that reason that we look at the 20th century with all these totalitarian regimes like the Nazis, like the Soviet Union, like the Chinese Communist Party, all these ideologies that came to power and tried to squash the church. The church which pointed to God as the highest authority. The government, these totalitarian ideologies that tried to put themselves out there as a sort of God, as the highest authority, as the one thing that could never ever be questioned. It's the church that points to something higher. It's the gospel that points to something higher. And it's for that reason that a true Christian is the most dangerous person in the world. A true Christian, holds up the cross as a war memorial for our sins and a trophy of what God has won for us, but also as a reminder that no matter what the world throws at us, God is greater and God conquers. God conquered sin and death. God conquered the worst thing that could possibly happen to anyone. And a true Christian knows that and owns that. It's for that reason Jesus reminds us in the Gospels that, blessed are you if you're persecuted for my sake. Blessed are you, your reward is great in heaven. If they persecuted me, they'll persecute you. So if we're having our lives a little too comfortable or a little too safe, if everybody is speaking well of us, Jesus reminds us that they spoke the same way about the false prophets. So, the Lord calls us to be dangerous. He doesn't come to bring a false peace. He comes to bring the sword of truth, the sword of the Spirit, the sword that has that surgical precision of separating false peace from true peace which is always built on justice, true peace that doesn't shy away from confrontation or conflict. That's what the Lord calls each and every one of us to. So if we're trying to feel comfortable all the time or to just stay in our safe space without ever branching out, without ever putting ourselves in places of uncomfortability, if we're trying to shy away from those not so comfortable implications that our faith brings into the messiness of this world, there might be something off. So let me know what you think. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to my videos if you like this video, and I hope to see you around. And if not, God bless.